very much a mid-range check, saying, hey, it's going to be fast, and even if you shield it, that's going to grant me access to my gyro. Of course, not if it hits a shield, but if it whiffs. So in that sense, you can throw it out with very little risk, right? Because if it hits a shield, kind of no harm, no foul in the mid-range. If it whiffs, he gets to pick up his gyro. So in that sense, it looks like Snormanda would be a little bit restricted by the control that Sintro has. And if you are restricted, you're going to be a little bit more static, a little bit more shield heavy, and that's where Sintro gets to run up and do down tilts like this. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Snormanda going for these more like dash shield style approaches, and Sintro answering with a dash up down tilt, just making great use of those dash up shields. So far, a little bit back and forth, but a bit more control from Sintro's side.
Right, but as you pointed out, or as I pointed out earlier, the damage is out of control from Bowser Jr. once he gets going. So Sintro needs to watch out, needs to get himself out of these situations. And against I Refuse, he tried to go under the stage, tried to fly high. Against Bowser Jr., both those options are kind of scary.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, if you're not careful, then that all those burst range options especially can just lead to enormous reward. Sintro looking for a Becker to counteract that side B from Bowser Jr. Not quite gonna land. And again, we see Snormanda getting those side Bs, going vertically, making his way out of disadvantage quite smoothly. And that's big, and that's why you gotta get those combos to stick when you're Sintro.
Yeah. Right now, it's Sintro sitting at 140%, Snormanda sitting at 110. Ooh. We get the Dragon Ball Z moment there, flying both sides. Tries to go for the rotor. That should be an up smash.
Yeah, he tried to get the reflect on the Mecha Koopa as well. Tried to be a little bit cheeky, but it didn't quite work out. Snormanda, again, we talked about it at the beginning of the match. He's going to be a little bit more respectful for Rob. He's going to approach a little bit more with the shield. And look at the gyro combos. Is going to drop it, but that was saucy. Getting those up airs in there as well. Just very, very well found. Using the side B to kind of mix up his approach. Sintro jumping preemptively is going to get anti-aired from across the stage. That's one of those things. Super Armor is going to go through the arm rotor as well. But the dash up down smash. Sintro getting a nasty read on the on the spot dodge.
Right, and that's exactly what he needed. Needed to get the KO real quick. Now, with no gyro on stage, this could be Snormanda's moment to keep on the pressure. Make sure that Sintro isn't getting off that ledge anytime soon. Oh, great read on the roll-in. Gets the jab. Now needs to finish it off. Can he do that?
Oh, the L smash out of shield. Exactly what he needed. Just as you mentioned, he can finish it off. And now it's a full stock lead for Snormanda. And I do have to say, I feel like the momentum is coming in big here. We see Sintro playing a little bit more reserved than he normally is.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you're feeling when you're feeling down and out, that could be the time to really mix it up. Really try to go for some aggressiveness. Really try to go for those combos that you've been labbing for hours. We see some nice B reverses coming in, but Snormanda's looking nicer here with the edge guard.
Oh, the up B stage spike is gonna do it, as Snormanda with a solid 2-stock. And Rob ended up in a car accident there. Holy moly. Not gonna attack that one. That's some Smash humor applied to Smash this time, you know. Why don't you tech the car? Well, he didn't see it coming there. So Snormanda with a dominating first game, 2-stock mid percentages. Very, very well done right there. I want to see Sintro adapt. I want to see Sintro playing a little bit less committal, a little bit more wary of the possibility of Snormanda to just come through with the side B, interrupt whatever Sintro was setting up, right? Because that's what we're seeing a lot, is we're seeing those interruptions in those situations.
Right. Now the gyro is a great opener, will tack on a quick 6%, but once again we see Snormanda using the gyro to his own advantage. Tries a really good chase there on the tech. Sintro now off stage.
Yep. And the item game by Snormanda, like you mentioned, very, very on point. Sintro playing very aggressive, just run up, full up, nair, dash attack, making his basically making his presence known in a big way. Snormanda looking for a jab mix up a little bit too early perhaps, and I don't know what Sintro was going for there. Is going to go for an air dodge, but Rob always makes it back.
Yeah.
All the way to the other side of the stage as well, just avoiding all danger.
Right, that was the right choice to go to the other side of the stage. He knew he could make it. Bowser Jr. was not there, so great awareness. Now it's Snormanda on the back foot here, gets rotated out of there, and now it's Sintro in the lead.
Sintro finding a lead, very nice for his game plan as well. Like we mentioned before, you know, both these players can be a little bit setup heavy, right? Bowser Jr. wants to set up his Mecha Koopa, Rob wants to set up his Gyro, wants to get his laser cooldown on deck, and just having that room to be out of your opponent playing from there is going to be very big. A missed punish by Sintro twice in a row is going to come to bite him back later. Now he's on the ledge, is going to try to find his way out of the corner, does make it, and look at the pressure here. Sintro converts so effortlessly.
Very well spaced up tilt there, anti-airing Snormanda out of the air, and now it's Snormanda on the offensive, Sintro on the ledge. Let's see what he can do. Doesn't get the jab. I thought it was going to jab there for sure, but Sintro escapes with his life.
Yeah, and I really want to see Snormanda do a little bit less of these jab mix-ups. I think, like, of course they're strong in the sense that, you know, if you hit them, they kill the opponent, but he hasn't hit a single jab yet, right? So we see him get these run-up jabs, but then Sintro just using that opportunity to get out of that situation. Eventually, Snormanda does find the upside out of shield, which sounds a lot more consistent than just running up and jabbing and kind of hoping for the best. Of course, Bowser Jr. got a buff on his forward throw, which is also huge for his kill presence. So in that sense, you know, maybe Snormanda could do with a little bit more strike-grab mix-up, right? Where one moment you might be striking with that jab, and the next moment you might be throwing out the grab and getting that forward throw to KO the opponent.
Right.
Off-stage pressure.
Snormanda going off stage, doesn't quite get it. Gets the hammer though. The reversal is very big here. Sintro now on 87%, needs to watch out for everything that Snormanda can throw at him. Uses the gyro to get out of that corner. Great awareness. Now the Mecha Koopa flying around. Doesn't get anything. The jab is gonna attack on a few extra percentages, but nothing too scary yet for Sintro.
Yeah, and I like Sintro very consciously playing towards the center of the stage. But what I don't like is whenever he has center, he kind of like gives it up, right? We talked about that in his games versus Gluttony as well, where he would like give up stage control to kind of lure the opponent in. Snormanda playing a more solid, slow game where he's like, I'm not going to commit immediately. I'm going to give it like I'm going to wait a beat or maybe 2 beats, and then I'm going to throw out the commitment, right? And because of that, Sintro kind of, again, deliberately cornering himself, just like right here, he's in the corner, has no gyro. How do you get out of the corner? Full hops to center, gets pressured for the situation, and now he's back into the corner. Now he's got his gyro turn against him, right? The laser is going to cause him a stock. So that entire sequence was caused by that initial decision to corner himself.
Right.
Yeah, Snormanda just making... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, because indeed, it's the little things, just those minor things that really change up the entire way this matchup is played. Now, a quick 44% on Snormanda means that Sintro still has some life in him left, and that's very important. You need to start the comeback, because remember, he was up 2-0 against I Refuse, lost 3 games in a row, lost the first game here. You need to start gaining some momentum back here.
A game on the board would be huge for Sintro. Sintro covering the center of the stage again, cornering himself. The arm rotor, you gotta wonder, was that intentional? Is gonna mash out of the grab though. Back air, nice pressure. So one of the things that Bowser Jr. is really good at that people don't really talk about is the amount of ways that he can mix up his attacks, right? So his grab is pretty subpar. That we can all agree on that. The reward is pretty solid, but the grab itself pretty subpar. But he has his forward air, which also has a landing hitbox that he can fast fall. He has his back air, he has his down air. His anti-landing is really good. Because of his side B, he can have an extra double jump to mix up his timing further. His neutral air is a very lasting hit as well, can be a good mix-up. Down air, multi-hit in and of itself. Up air, a unique time mix-up because it's so quick as compared to something like a forward air, back air, or down air, right? So in that sense, it can be very hard to keep up with all the different ways that Bowser Jr. can hit you. And that type of pressure is something that Snormanda is making great use of in this set so far.
Yeah, and this is starting to look like a nail-biter right here. 124% on Sintro on the ledge right now. Snormanda on 138%. Both are looking pretty dead, but they need to find the killing blow. And that's hard when they're both moving around so safely.
They're both on life support. Snormanda finding the side B out of corner and the jab. Is that going to do it on a heavy body? Not.
It is?
Barely. Just barely getting that KO. That confused me. Because he was slowing down, but then at the end, just finding that final pixel and Snormanda taking a win once more. That's big. That was huge. I think if Sintro had that game, because you can tell between game 1 and 2, he made huge adaptations, really picked himself up, but if that pickup leads to like a satisfying result, that gives a lot of energy. If that pickup leads to disappointment, it actually takes a lot of energy away, right? So it's all about the mental game now. Sintro, can you do what I Refuse did to you? Can you make the reverse 3-0 happen? Now is the time. Now is the time to show your stuff. Sintro getting comboed by an early up throw up air, 50%. Nothing to sneeze at, but also not the biggest of leads. Snormanda heard me though, is going to make it a bigger lead, is going to get the jab, is going to get some breaks out of the disadvantage as well. Nice conversion, 100% on Sintro. It's not looking pretty so far for the robot.
No, it's not looking pretty at all. But, you know, you still need to remind yourself that the laser will do a ton of damage in this matchup. The gyro will do a lot in this matchup. And once again, we see the neutral, where you talked about before the game started, the Nair being such a huge tool to keep away Snormanda. Great up tilt, great up air.
And we actually saw an interesting interaction by Sintro. He went for an empty land grab, right? And Snormanda rolling away out of the situation. And that's the interesting thing there, is that there we see an empty landing from Snormanda, and it did work. So the difference here is that if you want to counteract an empty landing, you actually shouldn't react to the landing, you should react to the startup of the aerial. So when you don't see Rob do the startup of a neutral air, you know it's going to probably be an empty landing and rolling is safe. Whereas you cannot react to the startup of a Bowser Jr. neutral air, so it's way more of a scary mix-up. So in that sense, Snormanda, great awareness of both his character's tools as well as his opponent's limitations. So far, the KO in Snormanda's favor, but Sintro, he's really fishing for that final hit, and he is going to find it. The back air, just such a huge self-spacing, killing, disjointed, lasting hitbox. Amazing move to close out stocks. One of Rob's best moves, honestly.
After all those things you said, I don't think you needed to point out that it's an amazing move. It's a really good move,
just making sure we're on the same page here. So the laser, again, dominating that mid-range. We talked about that before. And you got to respect the laser, and that's going to allow Sintro to pressure up close. So far, though, is that respect established? That's what you got to wonder. The roll is going to get covered by the abandoned ship upbeat by Bowser Jr. Snormanda struggling to hold on to his corner pressure.
Charmander looking real good right now. But yeah, it's I'm sorry, man. I had to do it to you. But yeah, it's Snormanda on 85%. Trying to go for the down smash, Sintro was, but doesn't quite get it. And then it's Snormanda who's in a better position right now. Gets the grab. The down throw is not going to KO just yet, but gets himself into a nice position. Maybe an up smash, maybe a forward smash, maybe a jab, maybe a back air.
That frame trap was on point, getting the up air, forcing the air dodge, and the back air just coming in such a big way. And Sintro just not really playing to his strengths here. He's running in, mixing up with the dash attack and the dash grab, and like, it's not a bad thing. The reward is good, but is it consistent? That is the question. The side B is going to be a consistent way to edge guard that up B, and now Snormanda out of options. The gyro just sniping his opponent out there. Sintro recovering, looked a little bit iffy, but it's Rob. You can make a few mistakes off stage, it's fine.
A few, just a couple. You'll probably make it back, and you can probably fly to Spain as well for another tournament. But yeah,
maybe that's how he got to the venue. Just Rob up B all the way there. These up airs, like you said, extremely deadly by Snormanda, finding 86. Almost unanswered right here, and Sintro again playing that close quarters, but the close quarters not really where you want to be fighting with Snormanda. The way he's been playing these situations with the jab, with the grabs, just very consistent, knows exactly what his opponent wants, gets the forward smash on the roll-in, and that's another 3-0 blowout.
Right, and we've seen these roll-ins before from Sintro in other sets, and Snormanda capitalizing, knows Sintro is scared, gets the roll read, gets the punish on the forward smash. Very well played by Snormanda, and that means that Sintro cannot possibly make it to the top 2 anymore in this group.
Yeah, so he's going to take a dive